The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998. Welcome to PWR Ask The Booker, answering your questions about the inner workings of pro wrestling each week. And now, let's find out which question was selected for this week's episode of Ask The Booker.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to PWR Ask The Booker.
ATB.
Yes, Ask the Booker. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and let's immediately proceed, or as Frank Sinatra would say, we shall proceed immediately to this week's question. Well, he wouldn't say it anymore, but this comes from Glenroth, Scotland. Is that anywhere near the Yard?
Yes.
Christopher Gunn, no relation to Billy, I assume, sends this question in. It says, apart from Vickie Guerrero, it seems that managers have completely disappeared from pro wrestling. Do you feel managers should still be a vital part of wrestling? And if so, who needs one, or who should change their current role and become one? That question sent to us from Christopher Gunn over in Scotland. And a good question, one we sort of started to talk about a couple of weeks ago right here on this very program, but a lot of people have been talking about those people who could be benefited by managers. And maybe if we go backwards a little bit and talk about those who were in the past, and you gotta say that I think the most recent big time person to make it huge in wrestling because of their manager, because of their mouthpiece, was Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman.
Well, I mean, Paul Heyman was such a character. He had so much
charisma, energy,
yes,
excitement,
he had
brilliance.
All that. And you know what? When you got a big monster like Brock Lesnar, you don't want him to talk. You want him to be a mystery. You want people to wonder, okay, what is he thinking? What does he want to do? That's why they had Armando Estrada with
my name
Umanga. All the great big guys have always had managers. Bundy and Studd had Heenan. Andre, you know, when he was a heel, had Heenan. Jimmy Hart had guys, Sheik and Volkov with Classy Freddie Blassie, one-man gang with the Slickster, Big Boss Man. I mean, all these guys had mouthpieces. Mm-hmm. And then the business changed. I think it's fair to say that if Vickie Guerrero was not Eddie Guerrero's widowed, she wouldn't have a job today.
Today, or had gotten?
She would not have gotten.
Because I think she is there on her merits today.
She would not have gotten the opportunity. Right now, Vince McMahon does not believe in managers. He just looks at them as an added expense.
It's another plane ticket, another hotel room.
Another plane ticket, another hotel room, another rental car. There's no need for him.
Who could hop into a managerial role right now that's currently in WWE that we know of? And I think the obvious answer to that would be Cody Rhodes.
Yes, he should be a manager. There's no question about that.
Michael Cole is what I meant, ladies and gentlemen. See, Andy was talking to me in my ear, and he said I hadn't talked about Cody yet, so that triggered.
You know who would be a great manager?
Who dat?
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What?
He does a great job on Tough Enough with the kids. Let him come out and take someone under his wing.
What?
Teach him something.
So you disagree on Michael Cole?
Well, Michael Cole is a given, but what's the shelf life on Michael Cole as a manager? It's got to be short.
I don't think so. I think there's some time there.
No, because Michael Cole has already been beat up by everybody. And most of the good managers like Bobby Heenan got beat up all the time also. But the thing is with Bobby Heenan, he was so quick-witted. He knew his way around a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Michael Cole doesn't have that. Yeah. Michael Cole just has hate and sarcasm. Mm-hmm. Michael Cole has yet to make fun of himself the way the other great managers in the past have done.
And arguably, it could end up being more about Michael Cole than the talent he should be getting over, which is the case now.
How many times would Bobby Heenan screw himself over to make the baby face look good? Mm-hmm. Michael Cole doesn't do that.
Right, but he could.
I don't think he's wired that way.
Ric Flair is in a managerial role of Gunner over in TNA. Is that
he has to? He can't wrestle full time. He wants to get a paycheck. No disrespect to Ric Flair. 4 or 5 divorces ago, he should have learned his lesson. But that's why he's still in TNA, is because of financial reasons. He could have been an ambassador. He could have been a manager on the E brand. I mean, he was kind of mentoring Batista for a while.
Have you seen Scorpion King 3 yet?
No, it just came out though. I really don't plan on seeing it.
Managers were an integral part of wrestling back in the day. I think there is still a place for them today in professional wrestling, but I don't think it's been done effectively aside from a couple of one-off cases, including Vickie Guerrero currently, and case of Paul Heyman. I mean, really, over the last 10 years, Armando Estrada as well.
That's pretty much been about it. You had, who was with the Punjabi Playboy? The guy with the
Rajan Singh?
Yeah, he was a manager, but he was more or less a mouthpiece and the caretaker for Great Khali.
He was good too, by the way.
You know what? Now you have made me want to go out and watch that Wrestling Managers DVD.
Oh, the greatest managers of all time. It's a great DVD.
See, like Bobby Heenan was a guy that could get his talent over and the babyface at his own expense.
Yeah.
Guys today are too worried about getting all their own stuff in. Everybody wants to look strong. Nobody wants to be
because they want you to tweet them.
Well, you do tweet them, a lot of them.
Only when I make my official endorsements, as I did last week, endorsing Brodus Clay.
Yes, you did. Brodus Clay, the latest member of the Super Friends. You know he's going to send me one of his jackets. I'll have it next week.
Christopher Gunn from Glenroth's, Scotland. Thank you very much for sending that in. I want to thank all of you who joined us on Monday Night Meltdown last night on Blog Talk Radio and for keeping us Blog Talk Radio's most popular sports show and one of the top 5 shows on all of Blog Talk Radio as well. And want to welcome you to submit your email to us to be considered to be the subject of Ask the Booker. ATB@PWRshow.com is where you send them to, ATB@PWRshow.com, and we will potentially select yours. So, we'll see you next Tuesday right here for another edition of Ask the Booker. For David Hero, this is Damian Nelson saying we'll see you Thursday night for Sudden Impact Radio.